Most of these followers, when their leaders have been proven guilty, most of them will run to. What up, guys? Welcome back. My name is Luke, and guys, thank you so much for joining me today. So, today's topic, I really didn't have this planned, but I had no choice. I really felt I needed to address this issue. Anyway, so last week an incident took place and it involved a well-known bishop here in South Africa, Bishop Israel Makamu. Of course, well known for being very charismatic, and you can tell from this footage.
Abafundi bebangekho but abomaria bobathathu bebasesiphambanweni sekwavukile utshela ingilosi batshela ukuthi amadoda ngifuna ukuhlangana nayo kanti akathi laba bazofika and amadoda wezanga ethuneni awukazi ubona ukuthi sengathi the more umthanda kakhulu is the more you lose him. Angikhuluma nabantu abathi ngeke ngathandana. The more you give all your heart is the more you lose the guy. And laba dlala ngaye khona ila thanda khona.
And I really don't even know how to begin to grapple with this whole incident. But in summary, last week a long lost voice recording between the bishop and a young lady who was part of his congregation at that time emerged. And in this voice recording, the bishop can be, heard allegedly asking for sex from this young girl who was just 17 years old at that time. 17 years old, still a minor, still a teenager. You see, if it was an adult, well, it's much understandable because there's concern to the happening. They know what they're doing. But in this case, it was a minor, still considered underage. Yet, the man of God denied that he was not asking for sex when he was confronted. Man of God denied it. And he said that he was asking for the office keys because the young girl in question was a receptionist at his church at that time. Guys, I'll leave the link to the audio below and you guys tell me if he was really asking for keys. I mean, asking for keys in a flirtatious manner. Really, man of God? Really, in that manner, asking for keys? See, I got to hear the girl's side of the story in a recent interview by Solomon. And yeah, of course, it was really keys. This man was literally asking for a young girl, a 17-year-old, to sleep with him. And in the interview, she admits that while working for him, on several occasions, he even tried forcing himself on her. Guys, I'll leave the link to the interview below because I don't have time to go into it. You see, just like on my previous video, I find it so disturbing, in fact, disgusting, that a whole pastor, a man who vowed to shepherd the sheep of God, will take it upon himself to devour the very sheep he calls sons and daughters. Worse, him even lying when asked if the accusations are true or false, just so that he could uphold the image he built. Guys, shameful. This is shameful. And as a kid, church had good connotations to it. It was a fun place to be, but I guess that's far from reality now. It has become a breeding ground for molestation, fraudery, adultery, and the worst thing you can possibly imagine. And all because shepherds are not being held accountable. And above all, most of them are not even in the faith at all. These men have left the faith. And you find still, even after this, shepherds have been proven guilty, that a lot of their zealots, God-forsaken disciples, deceived followers, still welcome them with open arms and say, we forgive you. And you guys still wonder why the cycle of wrongdoing in the church still continues. And that's because, of course, there are no repercussions to wrongdoings. You get forgiven. No repercussions because he's our Baba, he's our Father, he's our Major. Whew. Father my foot. Yet when someone else does it, it's the end of the world. This person is deserving of hell and deserves to be jailed up. But when it's your pastor, they deserve forgiveness. Shame on you. And guys, most Christians are the worst. The most unrealistic, the most gullible, the worst, I tell you. The worst. They will defend their pastors even when their pastors are caught red-handed. just so because of course they can feel, that they are not deceived. Because I heard someone say something so important. They say, most of these followers, when their leaders have been proven guilty, most of them will run to their leader's defense, just so cause they don't want to feel as if they are dumb, they've been deceived, they've been following a deceiver. It's just so painful that these things can be happening in the church, that these things can be happening in the church. And we have people, elderly individuals in the church, and they will say nothing. Yeah, it's so funny. I mean, 21st century, churches have become the worst places to be, the most dangerous places to be. And I'm not saying every other churches, but the majority of churches. This is the reality. This is what people, are encountering. And just advice for these individuals, because I don't understand it. Because most of the time you find that these preachers, they've lost the faith, like I stated. They're no longer in the faith. They're no longer working on themselves, They're no longer pursuing God. They're no longer working towards bettering their own life. You find that they begin to bring their dirt, their private life, the dirt in their private life to the pulpit as well. Is that really church? It's really quite disappointing. It's really disappointing, and I'm feeling like I'm renting, but I'm not renting, guys. It's just I have to lay this off my chest because it's the worst thing that can happen to these people. People who are coming to be given hope, then you find someone who's taking advantage of them. No, it doesn't. It doesn't pay at the end of the day. And this is my advice to a lot of preachers. If you feel like your testosterone tank is full, in the name of God, there are people out there who are willing, to participate in sexual activities. That's their job out there, they are willing to receive money so that they can participate in this. So if you feel like your testosterone tank is filled up, man of God, if you feel like you've abandoned God and you feel like you have just gone the wrong path with no return, man of God, please respect God's people. Respect people. Go and release your tank on other people who are willing, to do so. They do so for a living. Please do so. That's just my advice, because that's the best solution. If you find a person has lost their ways, they're no longer working on themselves, why are you hurting other people, innocent people who are coming to church for help, in need of hope? It doesn't make sense. You see, as Christians, I feel like we've allowed all this nonsense to continue. I tell you, no other religious group in this case will allow such nonsense to continue with no repercussions. Communities are suffering. A lot of Christian kids are not getting the educations they need because we are busy in reaching these places of destructions we now of course call churches, giving these people power, the power they don't even deserve. Literally, I mean, anyone can wake up from whatsoever bush and form a church. And guess what? We have people to follow. It's so painful that people go to these places to better their lives. And at the end of the day, they get abused and taken advantage of. All in the name of wanting to inherit heaven, wanting to go to heaven. And it really saddens me, and it's so painful. And a couple of years back, I had to take a break from the whole church thing, because in places like this, trust me, it's easy to get lost and forget who you are. And I really had to get this off my chest because, yeah, it matters. And well, guys, that's it from me. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please do leave a comment, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao.